I think the answer is a definite yes, because a huge part of what we've done so far has come from a customer-centric feedback loop. So I have two immediate examples of that. One being our lip balm. So essentially, when we first launched, the core of one of the brand values was being vegan. Our lip balm in its original form had beeswax, and we came to understand at early on in the journey that beeswax was considered vegan by some and vegan, by not vegan by many others. So what we decided to do was that we started getting a lot of feedback with regards to the lip balm saying that this has beeswax, it's not vegan. At this point, our lip balm was one of our top sellers. Despite that, we pulled it off the shelves. We went back into reformulation because with the beeswax ingredient, it was a very, very effective product. And to replicate that without using any kind of nasty chemicals like petroleum jelly or anything like that, we had to do a decent amount of R&D before we could relaunch that. And I think, if I'm not wrong, we had a gap of about almost 6 months. So we did that. We relaunched the lip balm with an alternative plant-based ingredient, making it comprehensively and without any doubt a vegan product. So that's one way in which we were able to kind of refine an existing product, but which we did so successfully. And now our lip balm is again one of our top sellers. A second example would be that of our curl range. So becoming synonymous in the curly community was not something that we did by design. This was actually a very, very effective customer feedback loop that helped us in the development of this of these products and now a range. So initially, when we launched, we had just our generic hair gel and hair cream, which, even though we are a unisex brand, we imagined that this would be mostly used by men for styling, because that's what Madhok and I were using it for. We started finding very quickly that this was being absorbed by the curly community, the women curly community of India. And we also equally quickly found out that this was hugely because there was a lack of options. We found that the curly head women of India were using men's styling products that were available because there were no curl styling options available for them. So when our products went live, they very, very quickly adopted our products, loved our products. We got so much customer feedback with regards to how it was performing for them. And based on months and months and months of feedback from curlies, if not years, maybe even a year and a half of feedback from curlies with regards to the products they wanted, the products they liked, which were suiting them, which were not suiting them. We found that 70% of our revenue was skewed towards hair care, a huge part of that coming from the curly community. We have now developed an entire range of 8 curly head products, which is launching in just short of a month, specifically for our curly hair customers. And all that development was done through a customer feedback loop. So I think the most effective tool that we do use is predominantly on our website, because that's kind of where we control the customer journey. We have customer data. It enables us to reach out to our customers. So we conduct quarterly surveys. In these quarterly surveys, they can be on a more brand level, on a product level, on a category level, where we like to understand the impact that we're having. So we do this every quarter. We get a lot of quantitative as well as qualitative feedback in this, because we have a lot of qualitative questions where customers have the option to not just choose from something that's clickable, but to be able to type in and give more creative feedback. And I would say that's a predominant way in which we are able to measure the impact that we've had. So for example, when we launch our curl range, we're going to probably do a survey specifically for our curly customers, for the customers who bought the products, understand the feedback, see if we can tweak it, and then tie that back into how we did the customer-centric tweaking for the lip balm. So, it could very well be that we need to do that to perfect the products for the curl range. So it's a continuous loop that keeps going. And other than that, we also do qualitative ways in which, we could get very, very good feedback, which may not be, in a majority, but we could get some softer feedback through Insta messages, through our social media accounts, our social media managers look very, very closely at the messages and the feedback that we're getting, and they're shared in groups. And even if it hasn't been shared by many people, but we see that it warrants our attention on it could be on a branding level, on an efficacy level, on just softer aspects where we feel that an improvement can be made. We use those qualitative channels also to measure that impact and to improve. So I think I can't speak for everyone, but I think for most startups and founders, our objective from day one is world domination. So I think that's the kind of fiber and and grain we have within us, that we're looking to take on anything and anyone in the hope of realizing that dream that we have. So I don't think it's um, you know specifically a niche is also determined by the way you're looking at it. So a niche can be considered something that's 500 crores, or a niche could be something that's a 3,000 crore market as well. So that's relative. But I think for most startup founders, we look to, when we're starting out, we're looking at world domination, and whichever category we're going into, whichever sector we're going into, we're looking to, as unrealistic as it may be, we're looking to go and own that space. At least that's, I think how both of us are looking at it, and a lot of other founders do as well. I think the only thing I would add is that the biggest learning we've had is that we had a lot of preconceived notions about our brand, about what we want to do in terms within the space that we were operating. And we've had a lot of humbling experiences, in terms of customer feedback, kind of redirecting us in the direction that we need to go with regards to the company. So I think the most important part is to keep listening to the customer. I know that sounds very it's very commonly said, but it's so important to understand the impact that your product or your service has had on the customer, and then based on that feedback, how you can tweak it and fine tune it. If we believe it's a perfect product or a perfect service, is irrelevant if the customer by and large does not believe that as well. So it's really important to make sure that you are actioning on what the customer is saying, and it doesn't just become something that's theoretical.